Hi there, and welcome to Sparrow Studios. My name is Bradie Sparrow, and my husband Matt and I own this 3,000 square foot studio where we sell, service, and rent APQS longarm quilting machines. Over the past 4 years, we have taught hundreds of quilters how to use a longarm to finish their quilts. Today, I'm going to demonstrate that process for you. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is to lay out all 3 of your layers to ensure that everything is going to fit. There's nothing more frustrating than getting to the bottom of your quilt and realizing that your backing was not large enough or your batting. So what you are looking for to begin is that your backing fabric is 4 inches bigger than your quilt top on all 4 sides. Next, you want to make sure that your batting is a minimum of 2 inches bigger than your quilt top on all 4 sides. So you're going to lay it out just as if you were basting it, but there's no pins going to be involved. So you want your backing with the right side down. You want your batting to be next, making sure that it's right side up. And on top of it all, you're going to lay out your quilt top right side up. Now, I can hear you thinking, how do I determine if my batting is right side up? Most battings are manufactured through a process called needle punching, and we want our needle to go through in the same direction that theirs did. So what I'm looking for on the right side are dimples or needle holes where I can see that the needles have entered into the batting. On the wrong side of the batting, I'm going to feel little nubs, bumps. I call them pimples. So when I'm laying out my batting, I'm making sure that my dimples are up and that my pimples are down. I'm hiding those pimples just like when I was a teenager. So now I can see that all 3 of my layers are in fact going to all fit together. And the next thing I want to consider, actually should probably consider this prior to doing anything, is your backing fabric. If it needs to be pieced, you want to use a horizontal seam. A horizontal seam is going to roll onto the roller in a single turn versus a perpendicular seam, which is going to roll on and create a thickness at the center of your quilt, which will create a fluttery edge. So if we've got that horizontal seam, it'll just roll on a little bit smoother. I'm not saying you cannot use the other alternative, but we'll just get slightly better or easier results if we do a horizontal. If you like to use minky for your backings, you want to ensure that the stretch of that minky is going to run right to left. If you load it front to back, you're going to distort that minky throughout the process of quilting your quilt. There's nothing you can do to avoid it, so do your best to load the stretch right to left. My favorite batting to use is Hobbs 80/20. It's very durable. It does not stretch or pull apart easily, so it takes a bit of abuse when I'm loading it onto the frame. I can do it quickly and it will maintain its shape. If you use a cotton batting, you'll probably find that it's a bit more linty, so you'll want to clean out your bobbin case more frequently. You'll also want to stitch closer together with a cotton batting as it tends to lose its loft and migrate out to the stitching lines after wear and tear and laundering. So just some factors to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to show you how to fold your quilt up either for storage or for transporting to somewhere where you're going to rent a longarm quilting machine, or just to your longarm quilter, whatever your end result is going to be. So I know that's the top edge of my quilt, so what I'm going to do is fold across the width. And when I fold across the width, I know that I'll unfold across the width when I go to load it onto the frame. It just makes things a little bit easier for myself, and I don't have to remember measurements because they immediately fall out of my head anyways. You see I've folded this to about the width of a hanger, and that will allow me to transport it on a hanger or even hang it on a hanger just to keep in my closet. I'll set that aside for now. Next, I'm going to do the exact same thing with my batting. Again, folding to about the width of a hanger. And again, I can just set that aside. If I were actually transporting this quilt, I would do the same thing with my backing fabric. Because I'm not, I'm just going to drop this into the frame for now. And what I want to tell you about now is something called leader grips. It's a quick load system that we use here at Sparrow Studios. And how that works is we've sewn a dowel into the canvas leader, and then over top of that we've got a plastic grip that just clamps over top of the dowel and it holds the fabric in place for us. It allows me to load a queen-size quilt in a matter of minutes versus pinning, which tends to take 45 minutes to an hour. Plus, I'm not going to pin myself, bleed all over my quilt. So before I get loading my quilt, the first thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the rollers of the machine. This front roller is called the quilt backing roller. We'll roll the entire backing onto this one. The next one is our quilt top roller. We aren't going to use that today. This roller here with no canvas on it is the leveler bar. And this far back roller is the pickup roller. Your finished quilt will be entirely rolled onto that once we're finished this process. So now what I'm going to do is lengthen this front roller, and I'm going to bring it around the quilt top roller and back onto itself. I like to arrange the dowel so that it's just at the very front of the quilt backing roller. And then I'll lock this blue lever to keep everything from shifting around. I'm going to toss my quilt back over the back of the frame, and I'm going to bring the front edge about an inch past the dowel. These are my leader grips. It's just a clear plastic channel. And how I like to attach this is I center it with my right hand so that I'm sure it's over the dowel properly, and then I just start pressing it on with my left hand. Centering it with my right hand keeps me from cracking the dowels when it's positioned poorly. I'll line up this next one where the other one left off, and I'll continue my way across until the entire grip has been attached to the dowel. Once it's on there, I'm going to drop this into the frame, and I'll loosen that blue lever and start rolling my quilt backing on to this front roller. I'm going to do a single turn, and then I'll smooth out from center. Then from there, I'll stop about every second or third turn and continue to smooth out from center. I'm making sure that it's nicely laid out over the back roller. The better I have it laid out back there, the better results I'm going to have up here. Once that far edge drops down like you just saw, it's time to stop, and then I'll relock my blue lever. Now I need to attach this loose end to my my pickup roller. So just like I did at the front, I'm going to lengthen this roller, which I've already done, and I'm going to roll it over on top of itself. And I'll take that loose edge and put it back up over there. Now I'm just going to go around to the back so that I can attach the other side. Come on with me, little cord. What I'm looking for at this point is a nice, smooth, flat surface. I don't want more belly on this side or more belly on this side. I can see that it's currently uneven, so I want to flatten it all out. If I were to take it and purposely skew it even 1/4 of an inch, I immediately get this funny draping, which I do not want. So that's another thing to look for. Once I've got it nice and flat all the way across, I'll attach my other grip, This time I'm going to start from the other side, but it really doesn't matter. Just start at one end and make your way across, continuing to make sure it stays nice and flat. Again, line up to the last where the other one left off, and push it on the entire way. Then we can drop this into the frame. Now, as you can see, I've got quite a bit of slack there that I need to take up. So my pickup roller is not controlled by hand. I've got a motor at the end of the roller. It's called the Power Fabric Advance on APQS machines, and it is controlled with this pedal on the floor. I'm hoping you can see that there's a green and a white pedal. The green is going to roll my quilt forward. The white brings it back towards me. So right now I'm going to use green and pick up all that slack. I want to take that dowel and leader grip just past the leveler bar. Because the dowel is quite thick, it will hinder the movement of the machine and interrupt the fluidity of my design, which I do not want. So I take it right out of the way, and you can see immediately where my 4 inches of extra fabric has gone at the top. Now that this is nice and flat, I'm ready to load my batting. So when I loaded my backing on, I threw the bulk of it all the way to the back. This time I'm keeping the bulk at the front. And because I prepared this by folding earlier, I know I just have to open it up across the width. My goal at this point is to give myself about 2 finger widths worth of space at the top. So again, that's 2 finger widths worth of space between the top of the batting and the white leveler bar. Once I've got that fairly straight, I'm going to smooth along the front. A little bit of static electricity helps me keep things in place. Then I'm going to grab this top edge, and I'm accordion folding it towards myself. And I'm going to jam that under this bar. Jam it right under the quilt top roller. You'll see my precise 2 finger measurement brings my batting right up to my leveler bar. And I'm going to smooth that out. And now I'm ready for the quilt top. Again, I'm going to keep the bulk at the front. And again, I'm unfolding across the width. I'm going to center this over my backing. And I use 3 finger widths on either side, and I'm happy with that. At the top, I also want 3 finger widths between the quilt top and the white leveler bar. And once more, I'm going to smooth along the front roller. Then accordion fold the quilt top towards myself and stuff it under that quilt backing roller.